Welcome back to my channel. My son was doing some slashing for me the other day while I was at work, and he sprung a leak. Diesel started squirting out from under here. It's coming from under the fuel tank. So I thought I'd take the fuel tank out and patch it. So we managed to get some of the leak on video. To get the fuel tank out, bonnet and both sides. The little Phillips head bolt that's there, you don't have to take that out. That's connected to back here. Now up on the front of the fuel tank is the bonnet stay. Now I'll undo the bonnet stay. Now I'm going to turn the fuel tap off. This is the other side. It's a little more complicated to get to. It's up under here, behind the air intake manifold. Now I'm going to undo these. But before you start undoing these, either disconnect the battery or get one of these things, because when you isolated terminal, that's what it's called. When you're undoing this, if you bump the battery, you can get an arc, and you don't really want that to happen. Using a 7/16 for these. The two bolts on the back of the fuel tank. One holds the reservoir, and the other one is on the other side. They're both on the back of the fuel tank. These have been stripped out. They were stripped out before I got it, so I had to put a nut underneath. Again, watch these battery terminals while you're doing this. Now we're on the back bolt on the opposite side, which is there. This is a 1/2 inch. Now that should be right just to lift off. Now that the fuel tank is sitting outside on the grass, that's the bottom of the fuel tank. The hole right there. Tiny pinprick of a hole. While I've got the fuel tank out, I thought I'd take the fuel tap out to check the filter that's inside, and actually I did. That's pretty clogged up. There's the filter that goes on the fuel tap. I put the greaser on it, let it sit for about 10 minutes, then hosed it off, then just let it sit and dry. So it just slides on there like that. I'm just going to spray this down with the greaser, clean it up so I can patch it. May as well give the whole thing a clean while I'm here. There's a hole just there. Just let that sit for a little while. It has been about 10 minutes. I probably should have stroked that stuff off before. Just give that area another spray. Now I want to do inside as well. Put my finger over the hole so it doesn't run straight out. Pour some in there. Holes in this corner. So try and get it to run around in that corner a bit. Probably give that about 10 minutes and then I'll give it a wash. It has been a little bit more than 10 minutes, so I'm going to wash it down now. Give inside a go. Don't want to put the cap on in case the degreaser eats the rubber on the cap. The cap is already pretty perished. I probably should get a new one. It's been about another 10 minutes. So now I'll put my finger over the tap hole to get it on the other sides of the walls there, because there are baffle walls inside there, and then I'll just let it drain out of that hole. Take that off. That way it'll fill up a bit faster. Try and make sure I got all that degreaser. I'll just let that drain for a little while now. While I'm waiting for the fuel tank to dry, I thought it'd be a good time to clean out the glass bowl. Just undo the thing on the bottom. Be careful not to drop it, it's glass. Try not to lose the seal. So I'll just wipe that out with the rag. Just give that a quick wipe and it's looking pretty good already. All I'm doing is my rag inside, just giving it a turn. Just give that a squirt with the degreaser. Just let that sit for about 10 minutes. I'll just let that dry. This is what I'm going to use to patch the tank repair kit. The instructions say to drill the hole or make the hole a 1/8 gap, but the closest I have to that is sharp is a 3.5 millimeter. I gather this is so the repair kit has something to bite onto. Try and stop as many of them pieces of metal from going in there as I can. I have had this sitting in the sun for about 4 hours after washing it, up this way, so upside down, so the hole's on top. That way, if there was any moisture inside, it's gone to the bottom, which is the top, so it's gone to the other side, to try and get this as dry as I can. Hopefully any moisture that's left in the tank has evaporated to stop that drops of moisture being in the tank, unless I pick that up from some dirty diesel somewhere. Quite warm, even the shady side of it's a little bit warm. I'll take that inside and patch it in the cool so it doesn't dry too quickly, because I don't want that to set before I get it all on there properly. The fuel tank set outside for about 4.5 hours to dry any moisture out of it. Sat inside for about half an hour, so it's cooled down. It's not hot from the sun anymore. Brush, the 2-pack putty, wax, maybe that softens up in the sun, but that's quite hard. Bit of fiberglass mat, some sandpaper. I have an alcohol wipe, well, I've actually got a couple just in case, to wipe the area down, clean it up. I find alcohol wipes evaporate really quickly, so it's a quick dry time on them. Clean the area with that and it evaporates nice and quick. And because they come with a bit of clean cloth inside, it's already it's clean, so I'm not wiping anything from a rag that might have touched something dirty. So I'll give that a bit of a sand, using the sandpaper that came in the pack. I'm trying to sand away some of this paint, because if the paint peels off, well, the putty will come off. I've got the tank sitting on a couple of bits of wood, just so it's not scratching around on the concrete. Try and open this without touching it too much. To wipe up some of that powder that went to the edges. The black side is quite hard. Work that loose, it's like it's compacted in there. So I'll just try and get that pliable first, because once I mix the two together, well, that's not hard, that's just liquid. I don't want the two parts to mix until I've softened this black stuff up. Soft on one side but hard on the other. It's like it's started to separate. A bit better now. I'm gonna be careful, I don't want it to break through while I soften this black stuff up. All feels about the same. Apparently I'm supposed to mix the two of them together for about 30 seconds. I've never used these products before, so this will be interesting. So I'll make it so I can see the seconds on my watch. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I've pushed all the one down into the other. I'll give that a mix around and push it back into the other side. Probably a bit longer than 30 seconds. I'll cut off the corner. Okay, it's starting to feel warm. Okay, I'll put that on there. Spread that around with the brush that they provided in the kit. Put that on. Get the rest on top of that. It's getting quite warm now. That looks pretty good. It's quite warm to touch now. Put that back in there so I don't get it everywhere. Somehow I didn't manage to get any of that on my hands. 20 to 30 minutes apparently. But I'll be leaving that until tomorrow. 2:45 in the afternoon. So I'll leave that till tomorrow. It is currently September 11, 2021, depending on how this product goes from JB Weld. If you see me change this tank or patch it again. I guess if I have any more problems, I will tag this video in it and do another video of either changing the tank or repatching it. We'll see how we go. As I'm not sponsored by these guys, this will be my honest opinion. See how we go. I'll leave that sit until tomorrow. I'll leave it sit inside so it dries in the cool. Tank is currently cool to touch. It is now the next day. That's the time. So this has been sitting all night. Set with a gloss finish. There's a bit there that's a little bit sticky. I probably didn't mix it properly. But with the first layer, then the layer with the fiberglass cloth, and then the next layer on top, I would assume that would be only the very top layer. Seems to be pretty good so far. I'm going to sit the gauze into position. I don't know if it really matters which way up it goes. The hole in the middle, there's a little bit in the middle that lines up with, and a bit of a recess around the side for it to sit into. Now the glass with its little gasket, whether it be rubber or the cork one, doesn't matter as long as it's there. And this bit just pushes up against the bottom of it. There's a little spot in the bottom of the glass for that to sit. Make sure that that back bit is sitting in properly, which it's not. It is now. The back one had just come out and was sitting up on the top edge. So if I tighten down with it like that, and then it moved, well, it would have gone loose and I've been pouring diesel out everywhere. Make sure it's sitting in the middle, pushing against the glass evenly. It's pretty tight now. So far that patch looks good. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.